نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهدي الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله أما بعد السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. All praise belongs to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who has given us yet another opportunity to be gathered here to continue our study session in the Kitab Uthool Thalatha of Sheikh Muhammad bin Abdullah bin Sulaiman al-Taymi al-Najdi. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala have mercy on him. This is going to be our 9th lesson. Am I right or wrong? Or 10th? 10th lesson, okay. This is going to be our 10th lesson, inshallah. Today being the 14th day in the month of Jumada al-Thani, 1441, after the historic hijrah of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam from Mecca to Medina, which is equivalent to the 9th day in the month of February 2020, the Christian era. Page 15, inshallah. Remember, we're still talking about the first Risala. Page 15. We're still talking about the first Risala, what has been made obligatory upon each one of us as Muslims. That al-ilmu, which was defined, then al-amalu bihi, which was our last class. Then the third thing, now we all understand that it is compulsory upon each and every Muslim to seek for knowledge, isn't it, regarding the things that Allah has made obligatory upon him, how to pray, who Allah is, about the religion of Islam, about Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. After seeking for that knowledge, another obligation comes in, that is to act upon that knowledge. That also is an obligation. You know, after seeking for knowledge, you act upon the knowledge, and that was what we discussed last week. Then the third thing we're going to talk about today is ad-da'watu ila al-ilmi. It's also an obligation. You have sought for knowledge, you've acted upon that knowledge, or you are seeking for knowledge and you are acting upon that knowledge. Then there is another thing that is obligatory upon you regarding that knowledge, that is ad-da'watu ilayhi, ay ad-da'watu ila al-ilm. You have to call others onto that knowledge. Am I communicating? الثالثة الدعوة إليه. That is, the third thing that is obligatory is الدعوة, calling onto it. يعني الدعوة إلى العلم, calling onto knowledge. What Sheikh means by this, saying that الدعوة إليه, it means that لا يكفي أن يتعلم الإنسان ويعمل في نفسه. That it is not sufficient. لا يكفي. It is not sufficient أن يتعلم الإنسان. I hope we have people that are writing this in English, so that at the end of the day we have the English translation of this sharh. Oh, you have not been doing that? Okay. We hope to have after this first Risala, we hope to have people that will type the English, what they have been learning, the translation, to type it so that we can have the English version of it in written form, please. Okay. لا يكفي أن يتعلم الإنسان ويعمل في نفسه. It is not sufficient that a person learns and then act upon this knowledge alone, him alone, في نفسه, ولا يدعو إلى الله عز وجل, and he does not call unto Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So you are a scholar, you've learned, and you are acting upon your knowledge, but that is not sufficient. You have to call others onto the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. بل لا بد أن يدعو غيره. You have to call other than you to the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Yani, you have the knowledge, you're acting upon the knowledge, then you have to call another person to also be blessed with that knowledge that you have, and also to start acting upon that knowledge that you have. فَيَكُونُ نَافِعًا لِنَفْسِهِ وَنَافِعًا لِغَيْرِهِ. Then you will become as someone that has benefited himself with the knowledge and that has benefited another person with that knowledge that you have sought for. Isn't it? So when you invite others and you teach others, am I communicating? When you learn and you practice, then you teach others two things. One, you are benefiting from it. Secondly, others are benefiting from that knowledge of yours. Hence, it is a double-edged reward for you. Am I communicating? Then whoever acts upon that knowledge that you have taught them, then you have the reward of that person without his reward or her reward being diminished. Am I communicating? So it's double-edged. So it's not enough. You have to call others. And that is the beauty of Islam, that you keep calling others onto the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَلِأَنَّ هَذَا الْعِلْمِ أَمَانَةٌ. Why? Because this knowledge that you see is a trust. Al-ilmu amana. Knowledge is a trust. Whomsoever Allah has bestowed with knowledge, then Allah has entrusted him with something, and Allah will ask him regarding that knowledge. So as students, we all need to understand this. The knowledge that we have is not for us to pride ourselves that we are knowledgeable, but we should also look at it from this perspective, that that knowledge is a trust. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has entrusted us with that knowledge, and whatever you have been entrusted with, you are bound to be asked regarding it. Hence, Allah is going to ask us regarding that knowledge. So part of the obligation of knowledge is to act upon it, then you invite others onto that knowledge. So it's an obligation, part of the obligation of that knowledge. لَيْسَ بِمُلْكٍ لَكْ تَخْزِينُهُ وَتَحْرُمَ النَّاسَ مِنْهُ. لَيْسَ بِمُلْكٍ لَكْ. It is not your possession, isn't it? It is not your possession. تَخْتَزِنُهُ afwan, تَخْتَزِنُهُ, that you are holding it. You know, the marketers, when they hold their products from the market, isn't it? So knowledge is not your sole possession. تَخْتَزِنُهُ, that you hold it, you store it in your brain. وَتَحْرُمَ النَّاسَ مِنْهُ, and you forbid people from that knowledge that you have acquired. That is not knowledge. So you don't seek for knowledge and hide away from people without teaching people that knowledge that you have. You don't hold knowledge, you don't keep knowledge, you don't store it. You don't become a sole custodian of knowledge without giving it out to others, because it is amana. وَالنَّاسُ بِحَاجَةٍ إِلَيْهِ, while people are in need of that knowledge. Wherever you find yourself in, you realize that people are in need of knowledge. It is the absence of knowledge that has led us to so many backwardness. So wherever you go in the masjid, when you enter the masjid to pray, you realize that people are not doing what they're supposed to do in the masjid. So you realize that even in the masjid environment, people are in need of knowledge. When you go to the marketplaces and you see how people are effecting business transactions, you will realize that people are actually in need of knowledge, because there is everything regarding anything that we do in our lives in the Quran. You know, تِبْيَانًا لِكُلِّ شَيْءٍ, an expository on everything. تِبْيَانًا لِكُلِّ شَيْءٍ. Quran is an expository on anything and everything. So you realize that وَالنَّاسُ بِحَاجَةٍ إِلَيْهِ, people are in need of knowledge. So you don't hold it, you don't keep it to yourself. I just gave an example with the masjid environment. You realize that when you look at the way people pray, you realize that people actually need to know how the Prophet ﷺ prayed. When you go to the marketplace, people actually need to understand the Islamic rulings on business transaction, mu'amalat and other things. When you go to wedding ceremonies, when you go to almost everything, you realize that people are actually in need of knowledge. And you know what this knowledge is? When they learn, they put it into practice. So knowledge is what you put into practice. Knowledge is that which you put into practice. Now, am I communicating? And that is why Sheikh said, "Wal ilmu innama unzila min ajli al-amal," in our previous lesson. Wal ilmu innama unzila min ajli al-amal. Knowledge is that which has been revealed for the purpose of action. So it is called knowledge because it is meant to be acted upon. So when we are talking about knowledge as far as this lesson is concerned, we're talking about that knowledge that's pull one into action so that others will see you acting on the knowledge that you have acquired. So when you go to the marketplaces, when you go to the masajid, when you go to offices and everywhere that you find yourself in, you'll see the Muslims that have acquired knowledge acting upon that knowledge, and you see, the trace of knowledge in their actions. فالواجب عليك التبليغ والبيان. فالواجب عليك التبليغ والبيان. What is compulsory upon you is at-tabligh, to convey the message. It is compulsory upon you. Balligh. The Prophet ﷺ has been commanded, and the Prophet has asked us also to relate, even if it is a verse that we had from him. So, فَالْوَاجِبَ عَلَيْكَ التَّبْلِيغُ وَالْبَيَانِ. What is compulsory upon you regarding the knowledge that you have acquired is to convey that knowledge. You relate that knowledge and you explain the knowledge to other people. أَلَيْسَ كَذَلِكَ? You clarify, that is bayan. It is not enough. Look at the beauty of Islam. Look at the systematic approach to this. When you're obliged to convey the authentic knowledge that you have acquired regarding the religion of Allah. That obligation does not stop at conveyance alone. It extends to detailed explanation, clarification, so that people will not be in confusion. Am I communicating? You have the obligation to explain in details to people so that they can have a clear understanding of that knowledge that you are relating to them, in order to be able to effectively put that knowledge into practice. Because what is misunderstood cannot be effectively put into practice. It is knowledge, but you have not explained it to people the way it ought to be explained. Hence, you see people applying the knowledge they have acquired wrongly because it lacked the basic detailed explanation that it's supposed to accompany it. Am I communicating? So when you are teaching people, you are also obliged to explain al-bayan, at-tabligh wal-bayan. You explain to people, you clarify matters to people, because knowledge, wal-ilmu innama unzila li'ajli amal, min ajli al-amal, min ajli al-amal. Wa da'watun nas ila al-khayr. What is also obligatory upon you is for you to invite people to that which is good. وَدَعْوَةُ النَّاسِ إِلَى الْخَيْرِ. Who can give us the verse in which surah? What is the verse, Abdul Malik? Not that one. Another one. We say وَدَعْوَةُ النَّاسِ إِلَى الْخَيْرِ. وَدَعْوَةُ النَّاسِ إِلَى الْخَيْرِ. نعم يا شيخ. وَلْتَكُمْ مِنْكُمْ يَدْعُونَ إِلَى الْخَيْرِ. Let there arise from amongst you a group that invite unto goodness. Islam is all about inviting people to goodness and warding them off anything that will be detrimental to their spiritual and physical well-being. So constantly Islam is inviting us to invite others to that which is good. And Islam is constantly telling us to ward evil off ourselves and to ward it off other people. Am I communicating? So, وَدَعْوَةُ النَّاسَ إِلَى الْخَيْرِ, and that you call people to goodness. هذا العلم الذي حملك الله إياه ليس وقفا عليك. Please listen, O you the knowledgeable ones. O you the knowledgeable ones. هذا العلم الذي حملك الله إياه. This knowledge that Allah has bestowed upon you, now you are a custodian of knowledge. You are carrying knowledge in your head. Listen. لَيْسَ وَقْفًا عَلَيْكَ. It is not an endowment on you. It is not for you to just keep it. It is not a full stop on you. It is not for you to keep it, not for you alone. وَإِنَّمَا هُوَ لَكَ وَلْغَيْرِكَ. But it is for you and for other than you. So there is no benefit in having knowledge without relating the knowledge to people. That is why Ibn Abbas radiyallahu anhu was reported to have said that whenever he stands up at night and is pondering over the verses of the Quran, is pondering over and over the verses of the Quran, if Allah opens up his heart to a new discovery and understanding of the verses of Allah, he wished that everyone on the face of earth has similar understanding to that. That is the zeal, that is the nature of the cleanliness of their heart, that they desire good for others. And that is how we all are supposed to be. When you seek for knowledge, you relate it. Because if you believe that that knowledge is beneficial to you, then it has to be beneficial to other than you too. And لا يؤمن أحدكم حتى يحب لأخيه ما يحب لنفسه. Your iman will not be complete. Your iman will be handicapped if you don't love for your brother that which you love for yourself. So you love to act upon the knowledge. You've listened to the fantastic benefit of seeking for knowledge and acting upon the knowledge, and now you're acting. But you also want that good for your fellow Muslim brothers and sisters. So what is upon you is to relate that knowledge. But know that you're only relating that which you are certain that is the authentic knowledge that you have gotten from the scholars of the deen. Am I communicating? So you don't, out of the desire to be rewarded, go there and start misleading people because you want to earn reward. You only talk about that which you have knowledge of. وَلَا تَقْفُ مَا لَيْسَ لَكَ بِعِلْمٍ. Allah said, do not say that which you have no knowledge. Isn't it off? So, الْقَوْلُ عَلَى اللَّهِ بِغَيْرِ عِلْمٍ. Talking about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala without knowledge is one of the gravest sins that you can ever commit. So don't speak on behalf of Islam when you don't have knowledge regarding Islam. فلا تحتكره على نفسك وتمنع الناس من الانتفاع به. فلا تحتكره. التحكير, that is what? Monopoly. Do not monopolize the knowledge. Do not monopolize the knowledge. Don't keep it to yourself. وَتَمْنَعَ النَّاسِ مِنَ الْإِنْتِفَاعِ بِهِ. And you prevent people from benefiting from that knowledge. Remember we said, knowledge is amana. So Allah has given you that trust. So when you hold it and you keep it to yourself, it becomes what? A betrayal of trust. So part of discharging the trust of knowledge is for you to what? Is for you to relate that knowledge to other than you, so that others can also benefit. But you don't prevent people from benefiting from beneficial knowledge. أليس كذلك? So as Muslims, we are always encouraged to spread good and to invite people to goodness. بل لا بد من تبليغه ولا بد من بيانه للناس. It is necessary and compulsory upon you to convey that knowledge to people and to explain and to clarify that knowledge to people. We've explained the difference between at-tabligh wal-bayan. Alaysa kadhalik. At-tabligh wal-bayan. You relate, you explain in details. That is why Allah referred to the Quran as what? Tibyanan likulli shay'in. Tibyanan likulli shay'in. An expository to everything that you can think of. So it explains everything in details. If it comes in general terms, you can find the detail also in the hadith of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, just so that all of us will maintain the stringent adherence on the right path. Alaysa kadhalik, Sirat al-Mustaqim. So we need detailed explanation so that we can consistently remain on the right path. Alaysa kadhalik. And that is why Quran has explained everything. The hadith of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the Sunnah is there, explain everything to us in detail. It's left for us to start acting. It's left for us to start seeking for that knowledge, to act on the knowledge and start calling people onto that goodness. Islam is absolute goodness. There is nothing wrong in Islam. So if Islam is good in all of its facades, then you need to invite people to this beauty. قال تعالى, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Allah says, وَإِذْ أَخَذَ اللَّهُ مِيثَاقَ الَّذِينَ أُوتُوا الْكِتَابَ لِتُبَيِّنُنَّهُ لِلنَّاسِ وَلَا تَكْتُمُونَهُ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, وَإِذْ. If you see وَإِذْ, وَذْكُرْ يعني, وَذْكُرْ. That is why in the English translation you see in parentheses, in bracket, they will put and remember. Isn't it? Shay'un mahdhuf. It has been erased. But you have to, that is what it implies. Wadhkur. Wa'idh. That is wadhkur. Remember. Idh. When Allah took a covenant from those who were given the scripture. Allah took a covenant with them. What is that covenant that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala took with them? لِتُبَيِّنُنَّهُ لِلنَّاسِ. Allah took a covenant with them to make it known, the knowledge, what Allah has given them of knowledge. Allah took a covenant with them. This knowledge is an amana. You have been given that knowledge. You have to explain it. You have to make it known to people. Then Allah said, what? وَلَا تَكْتُمُونَهُ. And do not hide it. So it's a grievous sin to hide knowledge when people are in need of that knowledge. Am I communicating? Allah took a covenant. So, what did Abu Huraira say regarding this? In the Tafsir of Imam al-Baghawi, Abu Huraira radiallahu anhu, he said, لولا ما أخذ الله على أهل الكتاب ما حدثتكم بشيء ثم تلا هذه الآية. He said لولا ما أخذ الله على أهل الكتاب ما حدثتكم بشيء. Had it not been for what Allah took from the people of the book, covenant, that if they have knowledge, the knowledge that is given to them, they must explain it to people and they should not hide the knowledge. Abu Huraira said, Ma haddathtukum bi shay'in. Wallahi, I wouldn't have relate anything to you. I would have kept quiet. Because silence is salvation. Isn't it? Silence. As-sumtu najah. Silence is salvation. But when you have to speak, and you are speaking the truth, and you are inviting people to goodness, then that silence, that speech is excellent. And that is why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says in Surah Al-Fussilat, Quran 41, وَمَنْ أَحْسَنُ قَوْلًا مِمَّنْ دَعَى إِلَى اللَّهِ وَعَمِلَ صَالِحًا وَقَالَ إِنَّنِي مِنَ الْمُسْلِمِينَ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, وَمَنْ أَحْسَنُ عَلَى وَذَنِ أَفْعَلْ وَمَنْ أَحْسَنُ قَوْلًا مِمَّنْ دَعَى إِلَى اللَّهِ. Who is truer in speech? Who is better in speech? Mimman da'a ilallah, like the one that calls people onto the path of Allah. His work, his duty, his responsibility, his profession is calling people onto the path of Allah. Wa amila salihah. Look at the condition now. Subhanallah, what an amazing coincidence. You know, the verse just came, but the verse explained everything that we're talking about. Look at it. Subhanallah. Allahu Akbar. وَمَنْ أَحْسَنُ قَوْلًا مِمَّنْ دَعَى إِلَى اللَّهِ الدَّعْوَةُ إِلَى الْعِلْمِ وَعَمِلَ صَالِحًا وَالْعَمَلُ بِالْعِلْمِ وَقَالَ إِنَّنِي مِنَ الْمُسْلِمِينَ. And he said, I am from among the Muslims. So Allah didn't just say He's inviting people, but He's acting upon the knowledge Himself. Now, the knowledge is hidden here in this verse, isn't it? But you are calling people with knowledge. Because in Quran chapter 12, verse 108, Surah to Yusuf, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says what? قُلْ خِطَابٌ لِنَبِيهِ Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Allah was saying, Ya Muhammad, قُلْ لَهُمْ لِهَؤُلَاهِ هَذِهِ sabili, this is my path. And we're going to make reference to the path. Ad'u ila Allah. Ad'u ila Allah. I invite unto Allah. Ala basiratin, from an informed perspective. Ana wa man ittaba'ani. I and those who follow me, they also must invite unto the path of Allah with knowledge. That is the implication. So when Allah says, وَمَنْ أَحْسَنُ قَوْلًا مِمَّنْ دَعَى إِلَى اللَّهِ, then when you're calling, you're calling using knowledge, isn't it? Because the condition for calling others onto the path of Allah is that you must be grounded. It's a must. It's a prerequisite. You must be grounded with the knowledge of that which you're calling people onto. You can't be talking about mathematics when you know nothing about mathematics. You can't stand up in front of people to talk about aeronautic engineering without having any knowledge regarding it. You're going to mislead people. But if you sit ignorant people down and you start talking gibberish regarding aeronautic engineering, regarding whatever, nuclear technology, and you have no knowledge about it, but you're just speaking rubbish because they don't have knowledge, they will applaud you and they will say, this guy is an intelligent person, because you are using big words, isn't it? The same thing when someone sits in front of you to tell you misguidance in the name of talking to you about Islam. If you don't have the requisite knowledge, you'll be wowed, isn't it? And that is the battle we are facing with a lot of people today on social media, when people start spewing nonsense about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, about the religion of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They don't want to confess to their ignorance, which will not kill them. If they say they're ignorant, it won't kill them, isn't it? If you confess to your ignorance, you're not going to ever die because of that confession, isn't it? But it opens up a path for you to seek for more knowledge and to be taught what you knew not before, isn't it? And that's why knowledge cannot be acquired without humility. You have to humble yourself before knowledge. You can't be arrogant in the presence of knowledge. You will never acquire knowledge because you have to first accept your ignorance. And that calls for humility. For you to agree and to accept that you are ignorant, that speaks volume of your humility. Because an arrogant person finds it difficult to accept the fact that he doesn't know. So he suffers from combined ignorance. May Allah save us from ignorance of any kind. So listen, so you now heard what Abu Huraira said. So we follow suit. You have to relate that knowledge. Practice on it. Teach people that knowledge. Because Allah has taken a covenant. No scholar should hide a knowledge that people are in need of. There are a certain level of knowledge, the level of which the people in front of you or the people in your locality have not attained. So you have to hide that knowledge away from them. Because if you relate that knowledge to them, it might take them out of the religion, or it might cause confusion in their minds because their understanding has not reached that level. It's just like in nursery school, primary school, secondary school, university. When you're doing your master's, when you're doing your PhD, you are taken through different levels of knowledge acquisition, isn't it? Each one relevant to the level that you are in. You are at that time. Am I communicating? The same thing is applicable to the Islamic knowledge. Allah took a covenant with them. هذا ميثاق أخذه الله على العلماء أن يبينوا للناس ما علمهم الله من أجل أن ينشروا الخير ويخرجوا الناس من الظلمات إلى النور. This is the covenant. هذا ميثاق أخذه الله على العلماء. This is the covenant that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala took with the scholars. Remember, it is Allah that has enriched them with knowledge. Fattaqullah wa yu'allimukumullah. When you fear Allah, Allah enriches you with knowledge. Wallahi, knowledge comes with the fear of Allah. And what we mean by knowledge here is that understanding that will spur you into practicing on that knowledge. Then you have knowledge. Then you have knowledge. What is that covenant that Allah took with the scholars? أَيُّبَيِّنُوا لِلنَّاسِ مَا عَلَّمَهُمُ اللَّهُ مِنْ أَجْلِ أَيَّنْشِرُوا الْخَيْرِ. That they will explain to people that which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has enriched them with knowledge. Of knowledge. Min ajli, why? So that they can spread this good. وَيُخْرِجُ النَّاسِ مِنَ الظُّلُمَاتِ إِلَى النُّورِ وَيُخْرِجُ النَّاسِ مِنَ الظُّلُمَاتِ إِلَى النُّورِ. And to take people out of darkness. Bring them out from darkness of ignorance. The darkness of shirk. The darkness of al-ishtiraq, Orientalism. The darkness of al-ilmaniyya, secularism. The darkness of atheism. The darkness of bid'ah, the darkness of everything that is an antithesis to Islamic religion, monotheism, to bring them out from that darkness, ila nur, onto the glorious light. What is this light? The light of Islamic monotheism, the light of knowledge about the sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the light of knowing what to do on the face of earth, the light of realizing the purpose of your creation. That is the duty of a scholar, to bring people out from darkness. And that is why you don't relent, because at each time you are suffering from ignorance, others are suffering from ignorance also. Because you can't know it all. So at each time you are seeking for knowledge, you are practicing, and there is need for you to keep teaching others, to keep, putting others on the path of knowledge. Why? Because at each time people are in need of knowledge. So you need constantly to be fed with knowledge so that you can constantly get yourself out of darkness, the trouble of darkness, into the serenity and the peaceful ambience created by knowledge that spurs you into recognizing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and appreciating the purpose for which you have been created. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says in Quran chapter 14, Surah Ibrahim, verse 1, Allah said, Alif Lam Ra, Kitabun anzalnahu ilayka litukhrija an-nas min adh-dhulumati ila an-nur bi'idhni rabbihim ila siratil aziz al-hamid. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says, Alif Lam Ra, Quran chapter 14, verse 1, Kitabun anzalnahu ilayk, a book which we have revealed to you, لِتُخْرِجَ النَّاسَ مِنَ الظُّلُمَاتِ إِلَى النُّورِ, so that you can take people out from darkness. We have explained what darkness is. إِلَى النُّورِ, to the glorious light. We have explained what this glorious light is. So it is there for you to spread the good to others. A Muslim does not hold the goodness that is kept in Islam. He invites others onto this goodness, the magnificent fold of Islam, the beauty of Islam. He invites people to Darus Salam, the house of peace, because there is no peace where there is no absolute obedience to the orders of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Again, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in Surah An-Nahl verse 44, Quran 16 verse 44, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says what? بالبينات والزبر, يعني He has sent down these messengers بالبينات والزبر, بالبينات والزبر, وأنزلنا إليك الذكر لتبين للناس ما نزل إليهم ولعلهم يتفكرون. بالبينات, with clear signs and books, we sent our messengers. So no messenger has been sent without clear sign and clear book. بالبينات والزبر وأنزلنا إليك الذكر, and we have also sent down unto you the dhikr, yani al-Quran. Why? For what purpose? لِتُبَيِّنَ لِلنَّاسِ مَا نُزِّلَ إِلَيْهِمْ, that you may explain clearly, that you may explain clearly لِلنَّاسِ, to men, مَا نُزِّلَ إِلَيْهِمْ, what is sent down to them. Why? وَلَعَلَّهُمْ يَتَفَكَّرُونَ, and that they may give thought, they may reflect, they may ponder. So you are to call people using Quran and the Sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. I hope I'm communicating. Now back to our kitab. وَهَذَا عَمَلُ الرُّسُولِ عَمَلُ الرُّسُلِ عَلَيْهِمُ الصَّلَاةُ وَالسَّلَامُ. This is the deed, this is the action, this is the duty of the prophets, to explain things clearly to people. Please, who doesn't want to do the profession? Who doesn't want to follow the profession, the path of the profession of the prophets? Who doesn't? So Allah, because it's a beautiful profession, the most excellent of all professions, so the door is opened, isn't it? That each and every one of us, as long as we are acquiring knowledge and practicing on that knowledge, then we should call people onto that knowledge. And that is why, because whenever there is a combined goodness in something, absolutely, Islam makes it open for every Muslim. It is not restrictive. So inviting people to the path of Allah is not restrictive. Let me explain. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam has said, relate from me, even if it is a verse. So which means it is almost impossible for you not to have come across a single misstatement of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam in your lifetime as a Muslim. So even with that, if you relate it, you have done the job of the prophets by relating that which Allah has given you of knowledge of the truth. So you have, at least you have followed that path. You have imitated the prophets in calling people onto the path of Allah, because that's what they came to do, and that's what they did. وَمَنِ اتَّبَعَهُمْ, and those who follow them. This is their job. قال تعالى, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, the verse that I referenced the other time, قُلْ هَذِهِ سَبِيلِي أَدْعُو إِلَى اللَّهِ عَلَى بَصِيرَةٍ أَنَا وَمَنِ اتَّبَعَنِي وَسُبْحَانَ اللَّهِ وَمَا أَنَا مِنَ الْمُشْرِكِينَ. Surah Yusuf. هذه طريقة الرسل أو هذه طريقة الرسول صلى الله عليه وسلم. This is the tariqah, not the Naqshbandi, not the Sufi tariqah, not the Tijaniya tariqah. No, this is the tariqah. This is the path of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. هذه طريقة الرسول صلى الله عليه وسلم. This is the tariqah. This is the path of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. وَطَرِيقَةُ أَتْبَعَهُ, and the path of those that follow the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. What is that path? Calling people onto al-Islam with knowledge. عَلَى بَصِيرَةٍ. Am I communicating? So if you are calling people, if you are talking on behalf of Islam and you don't back it up with Quran and Sunnah, know that you are not following the path of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. You are not on the tariqah of the Prophet, you are on the tariqah of shaitan. So know whose tariqah you're upon. Al-ilmu wal-amal wal-da'wa ila Allahi azza wa jal. What is this path? Al-ilmu, knowledge. The path of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam and those that follow him is the path of knowledge first. You have to acquire that knowledge first. Wal-amal, then you act upon that knowledge. Wal-da'watu ila Allah, and then you call unto Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is the path. So it starts with what? It starts with knowledge. Just like the prophethood of the Prophet ﷺ started with knowledge. Iqra, read. So the journey, any excellent journey starts with knowledge. Any excellent journey starts with knowledge. So even prophethood begins with what? With knowledge. Iqra, read. So the path of the Prophet ﷺ is the path of knowledge. So we say, seek for knowledge. Al-ilmu wal-amalu wal-da'watu ila Allahi azza wa jal. فَمَنْ لَمْ يَدَعْ وَهُوَ قَادِرٌ عَلَى الدَّعْوَةِ وَعِنْدَهُ وَكَتَمَهُ. Whoever does not call, وَهُوَ قَادِرٌ عَلَى الدَّعْوَةِ, and is able to call. Look at the beauty of Islam, which means someone might have knowledge but is not able to call others onto the path of Allah. Maybe due to speech impairment, maybe due to certain circumstances that he finds himself in. Maybe he cannot be able to talk in public. Maybe he doesn't know how to convey. Maybe. As long as the excuse is genuine, then you are excused. That is the beauty of Islam. You are excused. Because لا يكلف الله نفسا إلا وسعها. Allah does not overburden a soul beyond that which it can carry. But if you are able to call people, Allah has given you knowledge and you are able to teach others this knowledge. You are able to invite others onto this beauty. وَأَنْتَ قَادِرٌ يعني وَهُوَ قَادِرٌ عَلَى الدَّعْوَى وَعِنْدَهُ وَكَتَمَهُ. Then you now hide that knowledge while you are able to relate it. فَإِنَّهُ يَلْجَمُ بِلِجَامٍ مِنْ نَارِ يَوْمِ الْقِيَامَةِ كَمَا فِي الْحَدِيثِ. That person will be what? Punished. He will be burnt in Jahannam, as has been reported in the hadith of Abu Huraira radiallahu anhu, akhrajahu Abu Dawud. In the Sunan of Abu Dawud, the hadith appeared in the Sunan of Jami' of Abu Isa at-Tirmidhi, and also in the Sunan of Ibn Majah. وغيرهم من حديث أبي هريرة وصححه العلامة الألباني في صحيح سنن أبي داود. Sheikh Nasruddin Albani said the hadith is authentic. Inshallah, this is where we're going to stop today. I hope we've adequately exhausted this page. And the third thing that is obligatory upon each one of us, ad-da'watu ilayhi. The next one is going to be as-sabru ala al-adha fihi. That is the first thing. You have to be patient. It's obligatory upon you to be patient when you call people onto the path of Allah, because they are going to harm you, they are going to insult you, they are going to antagonize you. It is a constant being insulted, being cursed, being antagonized, being harmed physically, with verbally, physically. It's a constant when you call people onto the path of Allah. So our next lesson is going to be as-sabru ala al-adha fihi, which is a constant when you call people onto the path of Allah. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdika ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Now our hadith. Bismillah. From the sisters. Hadith. أبا
قال أمرت أن أقاتل الناس حتى يشهدوا أن لا إله إلا الله وأن محمدا رسول الله ويقيموا الصلاة ويؤتوا الزكاة فإذا فعلوا ذلك أصموا مني دماءهم وأموالهم وحسابهم على الله تعالى إلا بحق الإسلام وحسابهم على الله تعالى.
You got it, but the last part you mixed it. Yeah.
Yes.
إلا بحق الإسلام وحسابهم على الله. نعم.
رواه البخاري ومسلم.
نعم. ممتازة. نعم. Next person. Next person, please. You are passing it back to me? None of the sisters?
عنهما قال أن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم يقول أمرت أن أقاتل الناس حتى يشهدوا أن لا إله إلا الله وأن محمد رسول الله ويقيموا الصلاة ويؤتوا الزكاة فإذا فعلوا ذلك عصموا مني دماءهم وأموالهم وحسابهم إلا بحق الإسلام وحسابهم على الله تعالى.
No. MashaAllah. Next person, please. Quickly, please. Guys, you are folding our hands here. Are we ready for the next hadith? Or you want to go back and memorize this again? Umirtu an uqatil an-nas. Isn't it? You want to go back and memorize it, or we go with the next hadith? Which one? I don't want us to be piling up hadiths. Remember, once we reach hadith number 10, it's compulsory also that we will attend the seminar on this for this class, inshallah. Naam, hadith number hadith number 9. عن أبي هريرة عبد الرحمن بن صخر قال سمعت رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم يقول ما نهيتكم عنه فاجتنبوه وما أمرتكم به فأتوا منه ما استطعتم فإنما أهلك الذين من قبلكم كثرة مسائلهم واختلافهم على أنبيائهم رواه البخاري ومسلم. عن أبي هريرة عبد الرحمن بن صخر رضي الله عنه قال سمعت رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم يقول ما نهيتكم عنه فاجتنبوه وما أمرتكم به فأتوا منه ما استطعتم فإنما أهلك الذين من قبلكم كثرة مسائلهم واختلافهم على أنبيائهم رواه البخاري ومسلم. Now, this is our next hadith. You will read it the way I read it, or better than the way I read it now, inshallah. Till we meet next week. Subhanakallahumma bihamdik, shara la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk.